Good morning. I know what you're thinking. Mark, do you have any guilty pleasures? Anything you listen to that you're embarrassed by or that you wouldn't admit to anybody that you listen to? Guilty pleasures. And my answer to that is always, I have no guilty pleasures. I stand by everything I listen to. I love music. And though what I listen to definitely moves me and creates some time emotion, it certainly doesn't define who I am. Okay? So guilty pleasures, absolutely not. I mean, starting with my Coasters record, Charlie Brown's, going into the Freddie and the Dreamers and the Circle, and 1910 Fruit Gum Company, into the 70s with Firefall, Poco, Sugar Hill Gang, then we go into the 80s with Kaja Goo Goo, Chili Whack. I'm going deep, 3 Times Dope in the 90s. There's so many, Right Said Fred, and Chumbawamba, and you can even talk about genres this is where I kind of get angry when you define a genre, something like hair metal. Okay, that term is offensive to me. I'll tell you why. Because it kind of depreciates an entire genre of music that I love, that I grew up with, still listen to, have such fond memories of so many great bands, from Poison to Warrant to Tough to. LA Guns gets lumped into that. Faster Pussycat gets lumped into that category. Bang Tango does. All these bands that I love. Brittany Fox, Cinderella, bands I love. Sold millions of records. And I wasn't the only dude to listen to all of those. So we got to rethink the hair metal genre thing. It's such I get it. I understand. But to me, it just depreciates what great songs, what great music, what great playing. Probably some of the best players in the history of genres of music came out of hair metal. You couldn't even sniff around a record deal if you weren't just like a virtuoso on GIT and MIT and VIT and BIT and PIT and PYT and all those things. Maybe that's why that genre eventually faded out. It became too technical, too gnarly, kind of like in the 70s when punk rock took over, because it was becoming too bloated, and limos and cocaine and all that stuff. Boy, it sounds so terrible, doesn't it? But yeah, I have no guilty pleasures. It's just music. There's only 12 notes. There's 12 notes, and it's how you rap it. So, though when you were younger, music seems to define you as a person. I understand that. You go through high school, we're trying to navigate the murky waters of our high school years, and whatever benefits and gains you can get by saying you love these bands, but you're going to do it just to stay out of the radar, But then you kind of fall in love and certain songs start sounding good. For instance, when I was in high school, all I listened to was The Damned, the Sex Pistols, The Clash, Specimen, Susie and the Banshees, and The Cult. You couldn't tell me nothing beyond those bands. Nothing. Right? I draw my Peachy folder and just imagine how depressed I was growing up in the idyllic confines of Newport Beach, California. But that was my music. And then I fell in love and got my heart broken. And Air Supply songs started making perfect sense to me. So music there is to emote. So to answer your question about guilty pleasures, absolutely not. I still have every record I ever bought. Got rid of my CDs, but I stand by. I put my phone on shuffle and go, what do you got? Hit me. And I'll hear some Cron Gen, I'll hear some Blitz, I'll hear some Backstreet Boys, I'll hear some Beastie Boys, I'll hear some Dead Boys, then I'll hear some Beach Boys. I'll hear a little Slayer, then I'll hear some Shania Twain, then I'll hear some Frank Sinatra, then I'll hear some Treacherous 3, and then I'll hear some H2O, and then I'll hear some Crown of Thorns, little Danny Diablo, and it's all good, and it's going to be a great day. So I say to you, have yourself a great day. Cheers. There are no guilty pleasures. It's what you love. And then it becomes nostalgic. Cheers. Back to your regularly scheduled program.